Hi, it's Mrs. Martin with your book talk, and just a reminder about these book talk presentations. The idea behind the book talk is to give you some books to think about when it comes to a reading list. You know, maybe you're adding to a list of books that you're thinking about reading in the future. Some of these books may not be available when you go down to the library to check them out, and some might be books that sound interesting to you. Some might not be your style, but that's okay. The idea here is that we're giving you some titles, some authors to consider, maybe even just a genre, whether it be mystery or science fiction or historical, something that's going to pique your interest and get you thinking a little bit more about these books. The setup of each slide here is going to have the title of the book and the author's name. It's also going to have the book cover so that you know what to look for when you go to check out the book. There will be probably on each slide a few pictures that hint at the story, and then the genre where you can find that book will be found in the top right corner. Let's go ahead and get started. The first book I'm sharing is the first title in the Sarah Normal series by Phoebe Rivers. Even though there are 11 books in this series, it is not a series that you have to read in order. So if book 1, titled Ghost Town, is not on the shelf and you want to read others in the collection, you absolutely could do so. This is found in the mystery section, and it is not a scary book series, but it does involve ghosts. Let's take a look at the trailer to find out a little bit more. So poor Sarah Collins, she does have this unique ability. She is psychic. She can hear ghosts, she can see ghosts. She's hoping that they will just go away if she ignores them. But when she settles into this new home in New Jersey, she discovers for the first time that the ghosts can communicate with her and she can communicate back. One ghost in particular in Ghost Town desperately needs something for her and will not leave her alone. Again, this series is not meant to be scary or spooky necessarily. It's definitely more of a, what would it be like if you had this psychic ability and didn't want it? I loved the first book in this series by Phoebe Rivers titled Ghost Town. You can find any of the books in the series under R in the mystery section. The second book comes from our graphic novels section of the library. It's called Roller Girl by Victoria Jameson. If you like any of Raina Telgemeier's books, whether it be the Babysitter's Club series or Smile or Sisters, this would be a fantastic book to pick up. This one is about 12-year-old Astrid, who has always done everything with her best friend. Astrid signs up for roller derby camp, and she assumes her best friend Nicole is going to do the same thing because that's just what they've always done. But this time, Nicole does her own thing. She signs up for dance camp with a new friend instead. What? And this begins the toughest summer of Astrid's life. There are bumps and bruises of all kinds, not just the physical ones, but also the emotional ones, as Astrid begins to learn what it's like to be just herself without her other half, without Nicole. It's just a terrific friendship story, a terrific story about figuring out who you are. Roller Girl by Victoria Jameson. You can find other books by her in the graphic novel section as well. The $1 Million Shot by Dan Gutman. If you did not read this in 5th grade, I would highly recommend it. It's in our sports section. It's just a nice, quick read about an opportunity I would love to have, and that is the chance to win $1 million. Eddie is in school and writes a poem for a poetry contest and wins. And in this contest, it's not just a $20 gift card that he wins. He gets the chance to sink a foul shot at the NBA Finals. And if he makes it, he wins $1 million. Holy cow. A lot of his classmates are super supportive, want him to make it. There are some classmates who, understandably are pretty jealous of this opportunity that Eddie's going to get. Eddie also begins to receive these anonymous notes telling him he's going to miss the shot. They're sort of threatening him, letting him know, there's no way you're going to make it, and it begins to kind of psych him out. Is it possible that Eddie's going to get past the distractions, make this shot? You've got to read this book to find out. Be Careful What You Wish For is one of many books by R.L. Stine in the Goosebumps collection. This would be if you're looking for something a little bit on the scarier side in mystery. This book is about a girl named Samantha who plays basketball but is kind of a klutz. She manages to drop the ball, fall all over herself. Anytime she gets a chance at making a shot, it seems like there's just no way she's ever going to make that basket. And as a result, unfortunately, she becomes the laughingstock of the girls' basketball team. Everything, though, is about to change because Sam has met someone who can grant her 3 wishes. For real. Too bad Sam wasn't careful what she wished for. And sometimes, if you are not careful what you wish for, those things may come true. In this book, you've got to read to find out what life can be like if it turns into a nightmare. Be Careful What You Wish For by Stine. Check those out in the mystery section. Buddy by M.H. Herlong, a fantastic animal read, those books that are just perfect for those who love good pet stories in realistic fiction. Take a look at this one. Tyrone is living in New Orleans when he meets Buddy. His family actually accidentally hits this stray dog on their way to church, I think. And when they do, they nurse the dog kind of back to health, and Buddy turns out to be the dog that Tyrone has always wished for. Well, then Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans, and when this happens, Tyrone and his family have to evacuate, as do so many people, and they have to leave Buddy behind. After the storm hits and things have calmed down, Tyrone and his dad return home. They find not only that the community is really struggling to rebuild, and you learn a lot about Hurricane Katrina and the aftermath of that, which I enjoyed in this book. Along with that, though, Buddy seems to have completely disappeared. This is the story of Tyrone looking for Buddy, that quest of trying to find his best friend, and again, the aftermath of this hurricane. Buddy by M.H. Herlong. Find out how far Buddy will go to find his owner and how far our main character will go to find his dog. Another book for your consideration, and this is the last in my book talk, is Crenshaw by Katherine Applegate. Those of you who have read The One and Only Ivan, or maybe seen the movie, you already know what kind of a fantastic story Katherine Applegate can create. She is a wonderful author at just creating a story that brings you right in and makes you feel something. We're going to take a look at a book talk that lets you know about this fantasy story. Let's take a look.
You booked a cozy Verbo mountain cabin with a kitchen where everyone can chef. But the thing
Have you ever had an imaginary friend? If so, you might love Crenshaw. So Jackson had an imaginary friend, and he's going into 5th grade, so he thinks time for imaginary friends, that time is over. And he's very concerned. He's at the beach one day, and he sees on the waves a giant surfing cat. And nobody else sees this giant surfing cat. In fact, the seagulls don't even see this giant surfing cat. They kind of just fly right through him. And Jackson closes his eyes, and he opens them back up, and he closes his eyes and opens them back up, and the cat is still there. And Jackson's extra concerned because he knows this imaginary cat. This imaginary cat's name is Crenshaw, and he was there when his family was living in their minivan a couple of years ago. And he was there, and he does great funny things, and he's entertaining, and he likes to distract Jackson, and Jackson's concerned that the reason Crenshaw's back is because his family is going to be homeless again. He's noticing that the bills are piling up. He's noticing that he and his sister are hungry again. And whenever he asks his parents things like, well, what's going on? Are we going to pay these things? Are we going to be evicted? They give kind of nonsensical answers like, well, just plant a money tree and everything will be fine. So Jackson's a little concerned that he's too old for imaginary friends, but having Crenshaw come back might not be a bad thing for him.
So Crenshaw, the imaginary friend, might just save his family.
Or at least save Jackson's sanity.
Take a look at Crenshaw or any of Katherine Applegate's other books. We have them not only in fantasy, but also quite a few in realistic fiction and historical fiction. I hope that one of the books that we shared today, either by the book, the title, the genre, or an author, might be one that you'd like to write down, something that you'd like to put on hold here in the library or stop down to pick up. And if we can help you do so when you stop down to the library, please let me know. Thanks so much for your attention. Happy reading.